things that I'd wanted to do here. And so now we're getting organized on the other side of Pesach. On page Shin Yud, I just want to show you where we're going to go eventually. They have a very, very good introduction to the Rishash here. It says Tiva Rishash Akdana the Sedis Pashas Achasada Vagavuras the Bracha. The problem with the Rishash is that he uses words and phrases that were, nobody told us this is a list of what this means and that what that means. But in this little piece, he does some of that, and I think he's going to do a lot more. But for right now, and another thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to just examine the form of what we say in the bracha. Again, like because we went through the Matbeh bracha, and we have some understanding of that. We could always look at it again. I'll try to prepare it so I can do it really a lot more quickly. Right now we're on page Sadi, and we're continuing on with the with reading just the laning. We're right now in the 9th drush. So he said, "Ve'inyan hu ki hinei tehidach b'choyed dam mosros." There was abundance of blood, ma'ura besigim, but that light, that blood that we're talking about here, it was full of impurities. So there's blood at birth, and a lot of it comes out. It becomes the dam, which is the more refined part, the pure part. Besocha isha, inside of the woman. So he said, then it's able to become turned into milk. And then after nursing, it comes back to be dam tahor, dam that is pure. And the opposite is true, that actually it's the life force in the tinuk of artis baritz lenu, karadam and ischafik l'chalav, that dam, who birur min hazu hamas adam. This is really a refinement, or what's the right word? Refining out of the poison that are the impurities that are in the blood. Shelo yochel his bara b'teisha chadja that was not able to be refined out during the 9 months of birth. Va'ata huvra, but now it becomes refined. V'nizdake kenizka va'el, and it becomes more pure or cleansed, as we said before. V'zera b'sod sfiris omer b'mem tes yamim, and this is the reason why we count for 49 days. Of these elu, he says shehem sheva shavuos, which represents 7 weeks. Keneged sheva yemei nikim v'mei tahor, so that regards to the number 7, which goes on the concept of the of a woman after birth, of the 7 days of purity, or the 7 days he has clean days of impurity. Hadam ahum is barav and nehafel l'chalav. That's the dam that we're talking about that remains inside. It's the higher quality of the dam. It's the palm that has been mavura, and that can be turned into milk. The niknas bezer anpen hayonek. So, and then that dam turning into halav is what nurses the child. Now that was the end of drush 9. So now we're already in drush 10. So let's see how much time we have. Okay, so v'hu drush revihi al hanizker ubein sfiras omer. I shouldn't have done that. Let me go down to the bottom, just read. Da ki hinei atacha begeulas Mitzrayim, but now we're being redeemed. Nispashta hachamisha chasadim v'chamisha gevurus. There you have these 5 chasadim, and the 5 gevurus are now flowing through Zer Anpen Gevursh and the Elon Bechel B'Mala B'Shorsh B'Daz B'Zman Hagalos, that they were all closed up at that time. V'Hatach Mispashta B'Gufa D'Zah, now it spreads into the body of Zah. V'Hidach B'Ez Yitzias Mitzrayim Na'at Kuch V'Chaviyatza B'Sham, so the time of the Yitzias Mitzrayim was uprooted there, and it goes out from there. V'Achar Kach B'Sheva Shavuos, and then during the course of the period of time that we're in right now, and today being the 9th day of the Omer, he said, "V'achar kach b'sheva shavuos shel Shviras Omer." In those 7 weeks of Shviras Omer, Yordin mispashtin lamata begufa de zeranpin. V'tam he yosu sheva shavua. So why do you need 7? The reason is he iman is bar la'el is equals to what we said. Chasadim is pashta bechesed v'ad hob. So we said that. So there's chesed until hod. That's 5. V'achakach klalalusam, and then after that, whatever it means, kolel means the gathering together of some essence of them. B'yesod and nikra kol, which is called kol, which is kolel. Shehu klalos chamisha chasadim. V'chol chesed kolo me'aser. So every chesed actually has within it 10. Heim kol b'gematria 50. So that gives you that 50, number 50. And then after that, after they're Makalel into Yisod, then that is Makalel again in Malchus. Hanikras Kala the Shtei Sivos. So now he wants to say that the Nook, or that is Malchus, is called by the name Kala. So we already had the word call, so what's Pshat in the letter Hey? The Shtei Sivos, Sa'achas the Fishu Hey Achrona Shebashem HaHavaya. One is that it always refers to Malchus. V'lokechas klalos achasadim b'nikra kol, and it takes the 5, the kololim of the chasadim, which is called kol hare kala. So you have Hey, which is Malchus, which is the destination, and then everything that's going into it. Now there's another reason why it's called kol, or why we're calling the kol or the kol kolalos. Ki kol heim klalos chasadim. So kol is the klalos chasadim. V'hahei hu chamesha gevuros. So now you're calling the chasadim and the gevuros, and they're all going into the nukva. Ultimately, that's kala. So he said, Sibar Shlish says another reason. Ki kol hu hachamisha gevuros. Kol really refers to the 50 gevuros. Achaz kolula be'eser, each one of them has 10 parts. V'hahei he malchus atzma kanisbar la'el. Now there's what to say about that, but that's what we have. But nachsa the inyanenu, let's go back to what we were talking about previously. He said, Ki sheva bechinas yes b'hishpashtus chasadim. There are 7 different, what is the word, bechinas, aspects of how the chasadim spread. Connectum heim sheva shavuos, and corresponding to those 7 bechinos that are going to be in which is going to spread, you have the 7 weeks. Since it's 7 weeks, not 7 days, he could call because therefore each one of them is going to be a 7 by itself. And what does that mean? He said, what I want to say is like this. Let me explain. He says, so the first chesed, which goes on the right line, he has to have 7 different parts to it. Etc. Like that. All the 7 different ones, as we just mentioned before. So then after they spread, into the 5, he says the portion of it has to go into the kolo, which is Yesod. And then there's another spread down to the 7th place, a kolelos as kulon kanisker. So now this, what he means by shroshim here, I'm not 100% sure what he goes. Let's just keep going on. He said, so he wants to say that you have to have 7 bechinas as the root. And so then the question is how is it that Yesod, which is not one of the places that they spread to individually, he says you're going to have to spread them into Chesed, Yesod, and Malchus, and therefore Yuchlu l'kabel ha'ara memenu, and they're able to receive ha'ara. Now he's explaining a little bit about what he means by the kolel. The kolel is a ara from all of the rest of them. And so from them, and also the Chafsidik Chasadim. And how is it, if it's not through this, that they get tied together? So I'm not sure exactly what he wants to say. It seems a little bit twisty, so let's go on some more. The Nimski b'bakol chesed v'chesed min bechinas chasadim. Hamispasta b'sheva tachton to zer anpin. Yesh b'kol echa b'chem shorsh l'kol sheva b'chinas and iskara. So each one of them has one. Yesh bo. Each one of them has. Let me see. The root of yesh bo b'kol echa b'chem shorsh l'kol sheva b'chinas and iskara. So they all have a root in the 7 bechinos, which are Chagat. Let's see, which are Chagat Nai, Chagat Nehim. Yisbar b'shvua rishon mispashe the chesed. Let's go down below a little bit on Yud Tes. Of a ritzone laharchiv a beer, because it's a little bit not so clear yet. He said, da. Keep the sphere of chesed is Zer Anpin. Now, looking at it like this, he says, when we look at the sphere of Zer Anpin, mispashet bo hachesed rishon min chamisha chesadim mispashtim. You have one chesed comes of the 5 chesadim. There are 5 chesadim. The 5 chesadim are going to go into 7 places. So the question is how does this work? V'yesh b'chinas chesed, gevura, teferes, netzach, hod, yisod, and malchus. But within that first chesed, it has 7 different parts. So when it gets spread out into 7 different places like this. Chesed shebechesed, chesed into the chesed goes into gevura, and the chesed goes into teferes. Chesed shebenetzach, chesed shebehod, chesed shebeyesod, chesed shebemalchus. That goes all to these different places. For kol sheva bechinas elu, and each one of these 7 aspects, heim klalos hachesed, the rishon shebechesed, they're all incorporated, part of the incorporation of the first chesed. If you looked at first chesed, you will find there's 7 parts in it. Hamispashta b'zer anpeh. Says achar kach, and then after that he says, hachesed hasheni hanigra gevura shebechesed hine yesh bo sheva chesadim. It's going to have 7 within it too. Mischalkel b'sheva sefiros v'kulim b'bechinas gevura shebechem. So they're all aspects of gevura, and that's what it's going to be in the. So let me read this again. Mischalkel b'sheva sefiros. And all of it talking about this gevura because this is the 7 parts of the chesed called gevura. So the same thing in each one of them. He says, that spread into the body is their anpin. So let me explain this little intro here that I'm trying to tell you. He said, the Sheva Shavuos HAOMER in regards to the 7 weeks of the HAOMER. He says, Shavua Rishon. So now this is fairly straightforward. Shuash Rishon Kula Bechesed. The Rishon is all going to be dealing with the first Chesed. Yom Rishon, on the first day, Nikneses Bechinas Malchus Shebechesed Rishon. That's an important thing to understand because the drawing that the Rishash gives us is really a little bit misleading. You have to understand that what you're looking at in any of them is the Malchus coming in first in the first day. Malchus. So the Malchus of that Chesed Rishon, Betocha Chesed Nikra Zerua Yomim, which is now called by the name of the right arm, is a Yom Sheni on the second day. Nidchis a Malchus begevura the Zer Anpin, so then the Malchus gets now pushed into the Gevura Zer Anpin. The Nikdas Bechinas Yisod Shebechesed Rishon, and now the aspect of Yisod comes into the that's the next one that comes down. They come in reverse order. Bechesed Zer Anpin. Yom Shlishi Nidchis a Malchus. This pushes the Malchus down to the 3rd spot because it's the 3rd day, the 3rd push. Nidchis a Malchus, but Teferes is pushed into Teferes. For Yisod begevura, ubechinas hahod the Chesed Rishon. Nikneses bechesed Zer Anpin. All of that goes into Chesed Zer Anpin. On the 4th day, Nidchis a Malchus benetzach. Netzach Malchus, that's the original that came out, is pushed down into the 4th slot, which is Netzach. For Yisod beteferes, v'chachod begevura, v'chanetzach bechesed Zah. V'yom Chamishi, on the 5th day, Nidchis a Malchus behod, and Malchus is going to be pushed into Hod. V'yisod benetzach, v'chachod beteferes, v'chanetzach begevura, v'chateferes besod, bechesed Zer Anpin. Now later we'll see the depiction that the Rishash gives us, and I don't know if we have time to do that now. I'm not really organized to start switching books yet. So he says, Lav Abiyom Chashishi, Nidchis a Malchus b'Yisod. Malchus gets pushed into Yisod. But Yisod behod, and so behod benetzach, v'netzach b'teferes, v'teferes begevur, v'gevur nikneset b'chesed, the Zer Anpin. Now he says Yom Shvi, finally get down to the end, and let's see, maybe we do have a picture of this in the end, but I didn't have it just up. We don't have a lot of time. I'll try to get it better lined up for the next time. Let's say so. B'yom Shvi kol echad yored b'komo. Everything fits into its proper slot. Malchus b'malchus, Yisod b'Yisod, Hod b'Hod, Netzah b'Netzah, Tiferet b'Tiferes, Gevura b'Gevura, Chesed b'Chesed. That's how it goes. V'harei ki b'sheva yemei hashavua harishon. So in the 7th day, in the 7 days of the first week, lo mispashet rak hachesed harishon bilvad. The only thing that's mispashet is one chesed. But that one chesed goes into 7 places. The nispashta b'sheva sefiros kulim k'nizkar, and it winds up going into the 7 sefiros. Now, so we'll keep going on because the time is so short. Or I don't know, within a couple of weeks we'll start getting to a back end of this limit, because next week it's going to be even shorter. So now it says like this. We have just a little bit more time. It says Shavua Hasheni Mamash al Derek Shavua Rishon is the same thing. What's the Chesed Sheni? Min the Chasadim is Pashtas, which is Gevura. It is the Gevura of the Chasadim. So the same thing happens every single week. Until you get to the 7th week, Niknas Chesed Shvi, the final Chesed comes in, which is called Malchus. And the Asim Mechlalos called Chesed Sefiros, which is made out of the incorporation of Ha'ara that comes from all of the 7. So then he said, Vihine, Afal Pishin is Baraki Bedas, Zer Anpen Yesh Chamish Chasada V'Chamish Gevurav Sark Shateda. You have to know this one fact. Kihinech Hadas, that we know that the Das here, the Das, let's see, that the Das, what is Das? Das is in the Shamach and the Spashtetes Bekal Haguf. Das is the Neshama. It's Panemius. Bim came Muchra Shabadas Yiyu Sheva Bechinas Chasadim and Mispashtim B'Sheva Tachtonis and Nikroim Guf. So therefore, it's necessary that you have 7 different Bechinas of the Chasadim that are going to spread into the body. Ugenegdam Heim Sheva Gevuros, and there's also 7 Gevuros. Vadaki Elu Heim Sod Shnaim Asa Shvat, and this is also the secret, and this would be really worthwhile looking at it again. The secret of the 12 tribes. Shnaim Asa B'nei Yaakov, the 12 sons of Yaakov. V'shnei B'nei Yosef B'Nash of Ephraim, and add in the other 2 the 2 children of Menashe and Ephraim, gets the 12 tribes. Sheneba Bechem Keruven the Geshim and Yehiolo. So what is a Vada? Let me go back. Daki Elu Heim Sod Shneim Asa Shavat. Yeah, there's a. Could remember Aleph. The Gavarn is Bar Bedrash Zecha Be'inin the Sarach Rugi Malucha. So this would be something maybe to look into a little for me, to get an idea what that's all about. And we're out of time. Thank you so much. Call Tuf.